Look, as a small business owner, I know you're already wearing what? A dozen hats. You're the CEO, you're the lead salesperson, you're HR. And lately, when you look at the cybersecurity landscape, it probably feels like someone just handed you a completely unfamiliar, impossible puzzle. The threats out there seem incredibly complex, right? But in this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers of these modern attacks. Because honestly, once you see how the monsters actually operate under the bed, they completely lose their intimidating edge. You really don't need a massive IT budget or a computer science degree to defend your business. The truth is, these threats aren't impossibly complex pieces of code. They are relying on very simple psychological tricks that we can easily beat. And that brings us to the core theme we're going to explore today. The vast majority of modern attackers, they're no longer trying to brute force their way through your complicated digital firewalls. Instead, they are completely bypassing all that expensive technology and targeting something much more vulnerable: your stress, your sense of urgency, and your natural human emotions. Simply put, they are hacking you, the small business owner, not your network. Section 1, Hacking Humans, not networks. Okay, let's dive right into exactly how attackers have evolved their methods to target human psychology directly. And to do that, we really have to start at the digital front door of practically every business in the world: your email inbox. It used to be that scams were just glaringly obvious. We all remember the old way, right? You'd get an email from a supposed prince, full of terrible grammar, asking for an urgent wire transfer. But that broad spray and pray approach, it's mostly a thing of the past. We are now firmly in the era of phishing 2.0. This new way involves attackers doing really deep, extensive reconnaissance on your business before they ever send a single message. They're scraping public LinkedIn profiles, they're looking at previous email threads, all to create flawless disguises and highly targeted triggers that are specifically meant to make you bypass your logical brain. So what do those triggers actually look like? Well, attackers are finding the specific pressure points of a small business. Take the tax trick, for example. You might receive an email that looks exactly like it's from one of your own employees, complete with their perfect verified email signature. And it says they've attached a missing Schedule K-1 tax form. Now, for a small business partnership, a missing K-1 creates an instant, high-stakes administrative headache. They'll also send emails posing as cheap virtual paralegal services if they know you're tangled in legal issues, or fake Amazon product safety recalls to trigger physical safety fears, or even a fake DOJ warning about unpaid commercial vehicle citations. Every single one of these is engineered panic. They just want you feeling rushed, so you start clicking without thinking. I absolutely love this quote because it brilliantly illustrates our ultimate defense against these emotional hacks. When you get one of these high-pressure emails, you are looking at the uniform. The perfect logo, the correct job title, the flawless signature. It looks perfectly, 100% real. But you have to look out the window at the getaway car. We must ignore the uniform entirely and check the actual sender's email address and verify the URL of the link they are desperately trying to force us to click. Moving on to Section 2, the Phishing 2.0 illusion. Now, checking the sender's address used to be the absolute gold standard of defense, but the landscape is actively shifting. Attackers are introducing a new evolution of threats where they literally weaponize our inherent trust in the digital platforms we use every single day. Think about this. What happens when the attacker steals a legitimate domain? There is this highly sophisticated IRS phishing scam going around, where the email comes directly through the document sharing feature of a massive, globally recognized video conferencing platform. The attacker simply signs up for a free account, uploads a malicious file, and uses the platform's totally legitimate Share This Document feature to email you. Your security software sees the email originating from a verified multi-billion-dollar tech company's server, and it just waves it right on through, delivering the fake IRS link straight to your priority inbox. And here's a crazy twist. Sometimes the sender isn't a hacker at all, which creates this very confusing gray area. Small businesses right now are receiving really demanding emails with strict deadlines from registered German-based copyright enforcement companies demanding proof of license for public domain stock photos. Now, it's not technically a hack. It's a legitimate firm using automated bots that frequently flag businesses who are legally using free images. But it utilizes the exact same psychological pressure tactics as a scam, pushing exhausted owners into paying unnecessary settlement fees just to make it go away. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this wild shift. As our email filters eventually adapt and get smarter, the attackers are pivoting. In 2025, voice-based phishing didn't just tick up, it surged to 11% of all incidents, while traditional email phishing actually dropped to just 6%. Attackers are literally picking up the phone and calling IT help desks or your newly hired employees, proving that tracking a human is now the absolute path of least resistance. Let's move to Section 3, the physical threat expansion. We're going to see how this bleeds into our physical world, because the perimeter of what we consider hackable has drastically expanded. Threats have migrated completely off the traditional computer screen and directly into our physical environments. You know when you answer the phone, say hello, and you just hear dead air before it disconnects? It's so weird, right? A lot of people fear these are immediate voice cloning attempts. But the reality is actually much simpler. And honestly, it's just a mapping tool. These automated systems are simply pinging your number to validate that an active human actually answers the phone. Once you confirm you exist, your number gets added to a premium target list for highly sophisticated voice phishing or SIM swap attacks down the line. And that mapping doesn't stop at your cell phone. It includes your entire building. Attackers are increasingly targeting the smart office. Property managers love to upgrade older buildings with new internet-connected thermostats, electronic access panels, or even Wi-Fi-enabled coffee makers in the break room to save a few bucks. But they treat these devices like basic appliances. They plug them right into the corporate network and never, ever update the software. A smart thermostat is essentially a tiny, highly vulnerable computer sitting right next to your sensitive customer data. And get this, the physical hardware itself can even be compromised before you ever take it out of the box. The FCC recently added all routers produced in certain foreign countries to its covered list, essentially banning new authorizations. Why? Because of deep supply chain vulnerabilities. Foreign actors could potentially use these devices for network disruption or massive botnet attacks before you even plug the thing into your wall. Speaking of physical hardware vulnerabilities, let's talk about the phone sitting in your pocket right now. Researchers discovered a severe flaw in certain Android phones where an attacker with physical access to your device can completely bypass the device encryption and steal your passwords or cryptocurrency in under 60 seconds. All it takes is 60 seconds. This happens during a really brief but critical startup window when the phone is powered on, just before its full security lockdown engages and the encryption keys move into active memory. Furthermore, the digital tools we use every day to grow our businesses, or honestly, just to relax, are silently capturing data. Major social media platforms actively encourage you to embed tracking pixels in your digital ads. These tiny and visible images capture your customers' names, locations, and credit card details, often even if that customer tries to opt out. And because you put the code on your website, the legal responsibility shifts entirely onto you as the business owner. Meanwhile, in your living room, smart TVs use automated content recognition, or ACR, to analyze the pixels and audio of literally everything playing on your screen, even offline DVDs, just to build advertising profiles on you. All of these digital and physical vulnerabilities lead us directly into Section 4, the hidden tax burden. Frankly, this is where the reality of a cyber attack hits small business owners the absolute hardest. So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding this devastating double hit. If a hacker intercepts a wire transfer and drains money from your business revenue, obviously the cash is gone. But under current tax law changes, the theft loss deductions for most non-disaster cases were largely removed. This means the IRS may still view that stolen money as taxable income. You could literally owe end-of-year taxes on phantom income that a hacker stole from you. Talk about a massive financial strain on tight margins. So, if the ads we run are a legal liability, and a stolen phone can be unlocked in a minute, and we get taxed on stolen money, how do we avoid just throwing our hands up in the air and giving up? How do we actually take back control? Well, that brings us to Section 5, Simple Steps for Protection. And the good news is that the physical defenses to prevent you from ever getting to that nightmare scenario are incredibly straightforward. You might think, oh, I need paranoia and a massive corporate IT budget. Actually, scratch that. It just requires a few intentional moments of basic digital hygiene. Your ultimate defense mechanism comes down to changing the rules of engagement with 3 very simple steps. Step 1. Pause. This is absolutely your most critical psychological defense. Never let the incoming platform or email dictate your emotional response. Step 2. Verify directly. If an employee seemingly emails a weird text document, don't click the link. Walk over to their desk or pick up the phone and call them. If Amazon emails you a recall notice, type Amazon.com into a brand new browser window yourself. Establish a completely separate channel. And step 3, take action on your terms. You must dictate the terms of verification, always. We can also deploy some really specific, easy fixes right now, today, to neutralize the physical threats we discussed. Hang up on those weird, silent calls immediately and call your mobile carrier to request a port freeze on your account to prevent SIM swapping. Go into your smart TV's privacy settings tonight and just disable automated content recognition. Keep your operating systems updated immediately to patch those vulnerabilities. And do a quick audit of your office. If that smart coffee maker absolutely has to be on the internet, put it on an isolated guest Wi-Fi network far, far away from your sensitive business data. And on your mobile devices, the settings are equally unintimidating. To protect against new browser-based spyware on iPhones, you can simply turn on lockdown mode, which limits sketchy background web processes. On Android, to defend against that 60-second physical extraction flaw we talked about, just ensure you maintain physical control of your phone at all times and turn on USB restricted mode so nobody can do unauthorized data transfers through your charging port. See? You absolutely have the tools to secure your perimeter today. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought about where this is heading tomorrow. We know AI agents are already autonomously completing tasks online, and we know human-focused voice phishing is skyrocketing. So what happens when an AI agent decides to autonomously make a highly convincing, perfectly human-sounding voice call directly to your newest employee? Well, the answer is the exact same simple defense works. If your team is trained to step 1, pause, and step 2, verify directly, the AI's trick falls completely flat. The technology landscape will always be advancing rapidly. That's just a fact. But by treating your digital tools with the exact same practical caution you apply to locking the doors of your physical storefront and relying on these simple verification rules, you can absolutely defend your business. Stay vigilant, keep learning, and for the love of everything, keep your software updated. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with us.